Yeah. When I pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean, they gon' hate on me. Gon' hate on me. When I pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean, they gon' hate on me. Gon' hate on me. Pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean, they gon' hate on me. Gon' hate on me.
Yes. Glad to have you back around. Of course, we got Deem in the building. George checking in. I'm Kay, and this is the Biscayne Breakdown. As we do always about this time. How you doing, Deem?
Doing good, man. We having a good run. Everything is going lovely right now.
Happens to the best of us, brother. I've been there. I promise you, I've been there. How you doing, George?
Life is good. Life is doing good things to me and for me. And the Heat winning, was it 8 of the last 10? Has been feeling some sort of way. And yeah, it's that time of year again.
You said life is doing some good things. Go ahead, Dame. I'm sorry. I got a question too.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You said life is doing some good things to you. Be more expound, brother.
We cannot get more specific. We can't deep dive into that. We can't scoop.
Wait a minute, brother. Yeah, brother. I don't even like the terminology you're using. Moving on. So, listen, as George mentioned, the Miami Heat are doing some interesting things when it comes to the product that they're putting on the floor. You're seeing some results. I mean, basically, when you look at a team looking for themselves so much of the season thus far, it looks as though they're finally finding themselves, which of course starts with them on the defensive end. For me, when you see this Miami Heat team playing defense on a rope where they're moving as one unit, maybe as an amoeba, meaning the parts are moving in many different directions at the same time, but that whole entire unit is moving at once. That's when this Miami Heat team is actually clicking at their highest, and I think that that's what we've been seeing, as George mentioned, over the last 10 games or so. So specifically speaking about their last 3 games since coming back from the All-Star break, in the New Orleans Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings, and the Portland Trail Blazers, what has been that thing that has stuck out to you most, Dean?
Honestly, man, just how hard they've been playing. You know, like before the All-Star break, it seemed like some guys just wasn't playing as hard to me. Like honestly, it just feel like guys wasn't playing that hard to me. Everybody now it's like they playing hard. And I did miss the game last night versus Portland. We come in a day later, Wednesday, I think. Today is Wednesday, yeah. So I didn't even catch that game last night. A lot of stuff going on. But to me, honestly, the guys just been playing hard. You know, previous shows, I questioned how tough they was playing. You know, was they mentally there? Some guys. The defense has been clicking. The offense was great against what was the game? Sacramento. The game was great. That game against New Orleans really was something special to see. In my opinion, I think that was the best game for me. I know a lot of people want to say that Sacramento game, but to me that New Orleans game, it was a tough game. The environment seemed like it was tough. Like me and you said before, this after the All-Star break, this team is going to start gearing up and being playoff ready, and that's what they've been doing. So I'm not even really surprised about this run that they on right now, because we did predict this, but it's a good thing to see so far.
Absolutely, I agree with everything you said. I mean, you mentioned that
Don't
New Orleans
agree
being
with
your
me.
favorite. You mentioned that New Orleans. I'm not going to agree with everything, but as far as this, I agree. You mentioned that New Orleans win being the most impressive one for you. I do too, and that's going to take me to what I think the theme of these last 3 games have been. But first, I'm gonna let George get his thoughts out. What have you seen like there's been the theme for you over these last 3 games coming out of All-Star break, George?
They actually care about the way they play basketball and the brand of basketball they're putting out of there. It's I think the realization kicks in more and more that your ability to garner a better seed for your team isn't always going to be the end all and be all of your results in the playoffs. Like that's over the last 2-3 years. We've had the first seed, we've been the 8th seed, we've made it the finals both of those times. It's been actually no. Did we? Yes, we did. Made it both those times. It's been a rocky road in terms of trying to get back to those finals. You know, when we are relatively unhealthy, it's hard. It's difficult. So we're very close to the 5 seed now. I think we are the 5 seed after last night's win. So to just keep going, and they know that they need to try and get that 5th seed, that 4th seed. They can try and fight for one of those spots. It just makes their life a little bit easier. It really, really does. So not having to verse the Celtics earlier on, then verse the Bucks, then verse this and that. It's all about mitigating as much of the risk as possible and try and get, just trying to play basketball at a high level, because they weren't doing that earlier in the year. I won't lie. I don't know if it was a depth thing or if there was a personnel thing. I think we've put out 31 now different lineups. Like 31 different lineups this year alone. It hasn't even we've still got how many games left? 25? We've put out 31 different lineups. So
I mean, and I'm not trying to cut you off, but when you look at that, you also have to incorporate injuries and absence into that as well.
I don't listen to any of those, because the Heat have been able to do, when the year we were the 1st seed, we didn't have Jimmy and Bam and largely 5 or 6 other players through that earlier run. That's when Kyle Lowry.
I agree. I'm not giving them an excuse for not playing well. I'm just saying, speaking to the lineup thing, I don't give them an excuse for that either, because as we all know, they play better when they don't have all that guys. I think
we should blame them for that, though. We should blame them for that.
What? For what?
That's not be over the years having the same personnel, largely the same people on the team, very, very, very largely the same people on the team, and not being able to solidify a starting lineup that actually can meld together and work together. Now, through injuries, that's I understand what you're saying, because you're forced to make a lineup change when you have injuries. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're forced to make that change. But there have been times where they've benched players, they've brought players back that, players come out of injury, and they've decided to start them instantly instead of brought them back into the lineup, or vice versa. It's happened a lot. So I'm not blaming Spo. I just think Spo could have done a better job at the time with the way he's handled this. But it's not a race at the end of the day. As long as he gets it down and pat for the playoffs, that's all I care about. It could be the last game, the very last game, the one that Udonis has some drops 38 points in. That to figure out that lineup. As long as he finds it out before the playoffs, that's all that matters. And I think he's starting to figure it out that Bam really does. He's a beneficiary of having scoring at the 4, someone who can stretch the floor. Now, he also benefits from someone else that can box out, rebound, play a bit of interior defense as well. So I'm getting a little bit off topic. In the last 3 games,
what player aren't you talking about? But go ahead. Any player would, Joe. I mean, any player would.
Listen, we're gonna circle back to that. I'm talking about the last 3 games. What I've seen is a much more physical, a much more exciting brand of defense, where I was reading this the other day. In the first 10 games of the season, they were allowing 112 points a game from opponents. In the last 10 games now, they've given up 101. Just night and day difference, sort of thing. Night and day difference. And you see that defense. You see that you see that sort of, I don't know exactly what I'm trying, what word I need to use here, but the tougher brand of defense, more of an urgency to get that higher seed. You're starting to see Jimmy kick in a lot.
The overall intensity has increased.
Yeah, it's done wonders for the team. The energy's up. The one thing I don't like, though, are the turnovers. Turnovers are bad. What I saw last night in Portland, we were just throwing that shit away. They were like, open man, let me bounce past it. No, chest past that every day. No, they just bounce past turnover. It's too much, but you get the result.
Absolutely. I mean, there have been games, though, where their turnovers have been down. I will agree with you overall on this, though. There have been too many instances, especially over the last 10 to 15 games, actually since they've been winning games, where they just make the silly pass, like you're saying, George, like the bounce pass off a weird angle from one wing to another, where it's like, you ain't got no business making that pass. Or like when Caleb hesitates coming down the wing against Portland, is standing there for 3 seconds. Like, either drive the ball, give it up to somebody else in rotation, or shoot the ball. But don't sit there and fake everybody out, including the dude you're going to pass it to who's running down the lane full speed. And by the way, you're throwing them a chest pass that's neck high. I mean, it's a pretty interesting situation when it comes to those particular turnovers. So
I just want to point out with this as well, the Caleb one. I saw this 3 times yesterday. There were 2 players in front of Bam, all 3 times. All three times. They had covered him down the lane. Portland did the right thing in the game. They did the right thing. They stuffed the paint. You couldn't get through. Bam is your obvious weapon through that game. Like, besides Jimmy, but Bam is your interior presence. They clogged the paint, and instead of Caleb trying to use a drive to kick action, trying to use a little bit of any sort of dribble move to get himself free, he will just bounce past it to the 2 players, to the 2 Portland players every time. And Bam's looking at him like, not even a lob. Like, I can at least go get the lob. You've just given me no chance to make a play here, and that's what sucks. That's nitpicking if I'm doing it at all.
Well, in moving on here, I would say that my word is overcoming, but it actually jives well with what you guys have been saying with playing with some urgency, just playing like you care. You can overcome things when it seems like you care. And to close out to that point on the bounce passes, though, I think that he's a victim of what he sees Duncan and Jimmy do, because Jimmy and Duncan have mastered manipulating that interspatial dynamic with Bam, where they just can find any angle for a bounce pass. Like that heavy drive pocket pass between the 2 defenders to get Bam the open midi in the paint. Like Jimmy and him can do that with their eyes closed. Duncan Robinson and Bam Adebayo have some sort of telepathy when they're running action, because I swear I saw Duncan drive full speed down the lane the other night. He didn't know if Bam was going to be the guy to get to the pass. And yeah, Bam had to do a little scrambling, but just the mere fact that he attempted it because he knew Bam was going to be there. He was out of control, just doing something to bail himself out. But it got there. And the fact that you have that kind of trust in your guy and that know-how with him, that just speaks to something that Caleb is probably trying to figure out, and he isn't as good at it yet. Again, my words are overcoming, and that's something that they've done in some form or fashion in the last 3 games. Whether you look at New Orleans and them having to overcome the ejections, whether you look at the Sacramento game, one in which they had to overcome not having Jimmy Butler in the lineup as he was suspended, along with, of course, with Tyler Hero. And then I want to say that, you're looking at all of those things in combination with the fact that they were on the road still, and they were playing a team that featured Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Now, of course, you look at the Portland game, and Joel is actually, shout out to Joel, he's actually flaming the chat up, making us laugh in here. But you look at the Portland game where they got down early to a team they shouldn't have been down against, but eventually, they were able to not only close that gap, but overtake and win that game by double digits going away. I mean, that's just that, I guess that attitude of caring, that overcoming ability that we've all been speaking of. But before we move too far past these last 3 games, there's been a topic kind of like at the top of our mind as far as our group goes, because it was a topic talked about on the previous episode. Deem, in speaking prior to these games, we were talking about Sabonis and Bam Adebayo, and Deem posed the question of who we would rather have. Now, I personally took the route of being honest, of course, but saying it depends on the team. For the Kings and how they do things, Sabonis is probably better. And for the Miami Heat, Bam is probably better because of how they do things. Me personally, because I'm a Miami Heat fan, I'm more prone to the way they do things. So I'm going to say Bam Adebayo. After that game, and with the episode posted, there was a particular loyal listener out there. We appreciate you so much, because we know you're a loyal listener if you caught those little nooks and crannies and crevices of the episode, who pointed out that there was some flagrant speaking upon Bam's name after he led the charge to the victory in Sacramento. With that being said, I like to give Deem the full opportunity to do one of 3 things: explain, defend, or embarrass himself. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I'm not gonna embarrass myself. I'm always gonna defend my comments. But shout out to King Ransom, I believe his name is. I don't know if you're a Heat fan.
Not his name. Not his name. Deem, remember the guy's name. Jesus.
Yeah, no. I don't know if you're a Heat fan or not, bro. But if you are, DM me on Twitter, and we'd love to have you on. Even if you're not a Heat fan, if you're a whatever team fan you is, whenever Miami Heat playing your team, come on the show and come let's talk about it. But what I said was I posed the question and I said was, "Okay, how do you feel about the Sabonis and Bam comparison?" And I said I don't think it's too far off to say that, Sabonis could be better than Bam. Why is that? The numbers that Sabonis put up. Yes, me and K had a long discussion saying that it does depend on what the team needs. Now,
And
I
for the
believe
record, I agree with Dean. For the record, I agree with Dean because you can't like the numbers. You can't argue with
you
the
can't
numbers.
listen. Bam is the better defender, is the better defender player. I believe Sabonis is the better offensive player. They both had great games against each other. Was it 2 nights ago? 2 nights ago. Great games. Bam ended up on top because the team did win, and he may have the better game. I believe Bam, in my opinion, Bam had the better game. Now I'm going to stand what I believe, like what I said. I'm going to stand on that because it's things to back me up on that. Now what I said, and if you go back and watch that clip, I said Sabonis is the better offensive player and Bam is the better defender. Depending on what your team need, you can't go wrong with the pick. Now, Sabonis averaged more points, rebounds, and assists than Bam, with better numbers all across, like literally all across the board. Sabonis is not a great defender at all. He does everything else
Just
well.
to interrupt very quickly. Bam Adebayo, in fact, does score more points than Domantas Sabonis.
What's the numbers?
20.3 to 20. How can you be a better offensive player, play more minutes, take more
20.3
shots
to 20.
to 20? How can you be a better offensive player if you take more shots, play more minutes, get more opportunity?
He's shooting, bro. I'm
the
Sabonis is
focal
shooting like
point
what,
of your offense, and you can't even score more than Bam Adebayo,
bro?
who's the third option at best.
By 0.3, are we really going to by 0.3? Really?
It's not even. It's the fact of the matter is
Who
he gets
has a
more
higher
shots.
field goal percentage? Sabonis is at like 60, I believe.
Bam Adebayo shoots the ball at a rate
What, 50?
51.5.
And what's Sabonis? I'm pretty sure it's higher. I'm pretty sure it's like at 60.
62.1. Yes.
And 3-point percentage is what, 43?
He takes one a game, and Bam takes 0.3 a game. It does not. It does that. It just doesn't correlate to anything.
So I mean, come on,
Yes.
like seriously, like come on. This man almost averages a triple double. How many bigs in our league can besides
It's not becoming
Jokic?
impressive. I'm sorry, Russ made that unimpressive. It was impressive when Magic was doing it, when Oscar was doing it.
Since
I'm
when
sorry,
a
the
player
stat padding
averages
doesn't
triple
move me,
double
bro.
is
Stat padding
considered
does not move me.
unimpressive.
He is a convenience store. He is he just be serving everyone. Yeah, he's the focal point of the offense. He's the number one guy on that team.
Bro, so
in terms of offense.
Joe, I'm sorry, George.
Joe,
Has it been times
Joe,
I apologize.
Cronin?
Has it been times where
Well, your display name is Joe
your
Cronin.
display
To be
name
fair.
is Joe?
Asterisk. Joe Cronin.
I want you to answer this for me, George. It's been times where we begged Bam to dominate that offensive role? Have it not? Has it been times where Bam just totally disappeared from being the second option on this team? Yes or no?
I played the fifth. I'll be moving to America soon. I have to start. It's just this. I'm gonna be at the Heat games. I'm gonna be able to see Bam play in real life. I want to see Sabonis play. I don't
Listen,
care about Sabonis.
I seen Bam play.
Bam is my favorite player. That's not biased.
Bam is my favorite player on this Miami Heat team. I love Bam, but if bro, I'm a basketball fan before anything.
You're from Philly. You are a Philly fan. That's what your problem is.
I would
You
never,
only
I
care-
never in
you
my
only
life
care about
liked the
stats.
Sixers.
You only care about James Harden's stats. That's why you care about Philly.
I don't even like Harden as a player.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It probably took me seeing them head to head to get to where I am now. But if I had to answer what I perceived the question to be all over again, I would probably say Bam, especially in light of what George told me. I didn't know that Bam's overall like scoring totals were, even if it's only slightly, was better. But Bam really bothered me in those 10 or 15 games prior to the All-Star break. And he bothered me because he was being more aggressive, but now he was relying too much on the mid-range jumper. He wasn't being as aggressive getting to the cup. And over those last couple of games, as the Miami Heat started to turn it around, you saw a shift in his game as well. And that's something that you really seen continue to blossom, which was also always what you needed. You needed him to start taking that mid-range with a heavy dose so he could see what it felt like to hit it. So then he could see what it felt like to have defenses counter to it. So then he can have an opportunity to counter to it. But you needed to see that happen, and it wasn't happening fast enough. But again, speaking to the notion that George brought up, I think maybe Deem or George, and we've all brought up at some point, us wanting Bam to be more aggressive. It just takes him a little more time to get to places that we see his skill set or ability dictate he should probably already be right now from a.
But see, why
There's a
is
reason
that?
why Sacramento.
Wait. Let Kay answer that question real quick. Why is that? You think, Kay?
Because Bam isn't a natural. Bam isn't a natural. This is the best way to describe it. I'm not dodging the question. I'm just describing it like this. When you roll a basketball out on the floor and Joel Embiid's on the floor, he gonna do everything else on the floor. But above all else, in his mind, he gonna be like, I'm gonna go get buckets. Do you see what I'm saying? When you roll a basketball out on the floor, Kobe gonna say, I'm gonna go get buckets. To another point, LeBron will say, I'm gonna go get wins. If that means making my team better, whatever. And I think Bam got a little more of that. And that same thing that LeBron had to develop, in that sometimes I gotta be comfortable with going to do me because I'm capable. I think that's the same thing we're experiencing with Bam, but in a sense, effectively, in the terms that he probably didn't realize how skilled he was until he got to the NBA. And on top of the fact that he's never been the guy that they've rolled the ball out to and have said, hey, go get me 20. Or he's never been like, I'm going to go get you 20. Like, it all just happened slower for him because that's not his natural character, even though he's fully capable from a skill set perspective.
Can I just put something out there? Let me set up this whole Bam versus Sabonis debate. The Sacramento Kings in the last 10 years, how many times have they made the playoffs?
Bro, first of all, he wasn't even on the team for the last 10 years.
I don't care.
He was just
The
on the team
Sacramento Kings.
for the last 2 years.
The Sacramento Kings, how many times have they made the playoffs in the last 10 years?
That's an irrelevant question.
Give me a number between 1 and 10.
That's an irrelevant question.
0 and 10. Between 0 and 10, give me a number.
That's irrelevant. We all know the number, but that's a relevant question.
1.
Sabonis, and guess what? And the year they made the playoffs, when they had the best record in the last 10 years, Sabonis was on that team.
I do not care. My narrative says that he plays for a franchise that doesn't care about winning, that doesn't know how to win.
What that got to do with him?
They haven't ever won since 1951. The culture of that organization is not meant for him to be a winning player. Thus, he's a stats player. He's Russell Westbrook in the last year of his deal in OKC.
He's not a stat player. He's not a stat player.
100% basically laying the ball off the backboard for himself. He is inefficient on defense. He is not fast.
Did you call him White Moses Malone?
I just called him White. Just full stop. It's just not good at ball. There's no
Bro,
there's
so
no
wait, I got a
translation with his
question
game
for
to
you real
winning.
quick, George.
He is a confectionery chain. He sits there. He is that.
I'm gonna give y'all another minute and a half or so here. Y'all,
You know that
continue.
the conveyor belt that just pushes along walnuts along like a long string. I'm sorry, Joel.
What? Come on now.
Beep 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 beep. Sorry, Joel. Sorry, Joel. A confectionery belt, and it just pushes walnuts across so they can get packaged and stuff. That is what Sabonis is. He
That's
is in the middle of that
That's
system.
horrible.
The system isn't meant for winning basketball. I don't care if he's averaging 30 and 15 and 22 assists a game. Yes, and I swear better. Yes, I'm banned. Get me out of here. I don't care. There's no way. There's no argument to be made that Sabonis is a better player than Bam. There's no, because Bam translates to winning.
And
in
wait,
Latin.
so wait,
in
time out.
Latin and Hebrew, Bam means winning.
Let him get his side out, George.
In Latin and Hebrew, Sabonis means big baby who cries when doesn't make shot. That's it. Okay, that's it.
Bro,
He was.
so
I liked him at OKC. I liked him at the Pacers. I don't like.
Let him talk, George. Let Deem get his side out, man.
Listen to what you said. Like you said, the last 10 years, the Pacers have made the playoffs one time, and that was in Sabonis' first Kings. I'm sorry, I don't know what team I just said.
Sabonis' former team. It was a Freudian slip. I understand what you were doing, but then George has a unique ability to fluster you, so I get it. And it's not just. I'm not saying fluster you. Like I've been where you've been. Like George is uniquely well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
At flustering.
Listen,
speak, Dean, please.
In the last 15 years, the Kings made the playoff one time, and that was Sabonis' first year with the team, I believe. Was it his first year with the team? Yes.
Did he get traded in the offseason?
He got traded. I don't remember. I don't remember. I just know.
I don't know why I want to remember.
The Kings' best record in the last 15 years came with Sabonis on the team. So, it's true though, right?
It's true. It's just redundant. It's a point.
No, it shouldn't be redundant. Anyway. Now, what we're doing here is saying that because he put up good stats, he's a stat patter. But when Jokic put up those same stats,
he won a ring.
Listen,
he won a ring.
Bro, I understand that.
Sacramento
only one person can win a championship every year. That's it. Only one team can win a championship every year.
Tell me, and you're about to put Sabonis and Jokic into the same conversation?
Absolutely not. But I'm saying
that is insane.
But all I'm saying is, since Westbrook averaged a triple-double, now we only saying when certain players do it, it looks good. But when another player do it, it's stat pattern because we don't like said player, we're not going to do that. No.
Yes,
we ain't going to do that.
Well,
not
exactly
on this show.
What we're going to do.
Listen, man.
Okay, so we're gonna definitely have to finish this debate on the next. We're gonna finish this debate on the next biz break. Get your last part out, Dame, and then we're gonna move on. But George, we want you back on the next one because I want y'all to finish this. I want y'all to have some time.
No, we definitely want you on the next one, and we're gonna try to find King Ransom somewhere.
I just want to end on one point.
We definitely gonna add him too.
I just want to add one very quick point.
Get your point out, George, and then you can respond.
There's
and then we're gonna move on.
Between stats between Bam and Sabonis. Sabonis is definitely the better statistical player than Bam. In shooting, in rebounding, he's more active. He's a better passer. He's a more active passer. He's a more that's all well and good. I get that. I see where your argument comes from. He does more.
If Sabonis was on the Knicks, the Lakers, the Bulls, the Celtics, he'd be considered. He'd be an all-star and be in consideration of an all-NBA player. Because he's on the Kings, we overlook at how great of a. I'm not going to say how great, how good of a player he is.
How great or Greek?
I said good. I said I'm not going to say great because I don't throw.
He corrected itself.
I don't throw the word great around on players a lot because that's a big thing to carry. I said good. He's a really good player, and if he was on a team with a big market, we'd be talking totally different about Sabonis.
Let's talk about this then. Very quickly, last question ever. These are my last two questions. They take 30 seconds. Would the Sacramento Kings be a better organization if they replaced Sabonis with Bam Adebayo?
No, they'd be the same.
Would
that's
the Heat
and
be a
that,
better team? Would the Heat be a better team with Sabonis instead of Bam? Yes
Honestly,
or no? Yes or no question. Would they be a better team when if you take away everything Bam provides and replace it with everything Sabonis supply, garners? Are you looking at the best? Are you looking at a better or worse Heat team?
you look. I say this. I'm gonna be 100% honest. You'll be less productive in the playoffs because Sabonis cannot guard a soul. I will admit that.
George just left. I was just
No, I
about to
would admit
say,
that.
and I think that's what I was getting to at the end of my soliloquy before we move on. This last game just showed me, like, if you put Bam on the Kings, they're a much better team because he offers you enough of what Sabonis offers you on that side, but way more everywhere else. But if you put, you know, Sabonis on the Miami Heat, you would lose so much of what Bam adds to the team, which is like the fulcrum of how they operate. They just wouldn't be the same, and they'll be just any other NBA team trying to outscore people, and that's not a way to
Can't
success in the
wait.
playoffs.
Sabonis gets me those 3 more rebounds, but we give up
Um,
148 points a game. I can't wait
listen,
for that
man.
shit.
Listen. So
The Heat
moving
defense
on,
hasn't been pretty good that
moving
year
on,
so far.
moving on. Speaking of the Miami Heat and their defense and their energy and overcoming, as we were talking about before we got into that really, really, really elongated Bam versus Sabonis conversation that's going to continue in the next episode. As Deem has put out the invite for his critics out there, and we love to have George back on so him and Deem can finish that discussion. We move on to something that's also been key over these last 3 victories for the Miami Heat, and something that we've talked about for much of the season, and that will probably continue to be a superpower of theirs as they look to progress deep into the postseason, and that's their depth. When you look at what the Miami Heat have done since the Kyle Lowry transaction, adding Terry Rozier as a part of that, who finally saw his first real, I would say, Terry Rozier lightning bolt of a game happen in Portland, as well as the adding of DeLon Wright, who's been contributing in a major way since he first broke the rotation, as the Miami Heat were without a lot of guys in Sacramento. It's a situation where the Miami Heat further increased their depth, and this is without Tyler Hero, without Josh Richardson being on the court, again, without Jimmy Butler, without Nikola Jovic for one of those games. It's just continuing to shine through. So I know we've talked about this, as I mentioned, for much of the season already, and it's something that we continue to harp on. Just when you want to get a word in on what you've seen from the new guys, because I'm sure everybody does, because DeLon Wright, and I'll speak to like one of his defensive possessions on what's the guy from Portland? His name slips me. Anthony Simons. I speak to an end of the shot clock possession he had on him as a pivotal moment in the game against Portland on Tuesday. Those are the moments that he's really going to come through huge for you in the playoffs. Those are the moments that really highlights his value. So I know you guys want to speak on, all of those things such as that, his playmaking ability, but just overall relate that to the Miami Heat's continued growth in their depth and how that's going to help propel them potentially to where we'd all like to see them go. George, be brief, but get a word on their depth and how you've seen that advance, progress, grow, and be a reason for them winning games.
Well, if anyone's seen what I've been, talking about everywhere else I speak, everywhere else I post, it's the same stuff. The Heat needed badly needed a defensive-minded point guard. There's no and ifs or buts about it. They needed it, and in all honesty, without that point guard, that guard that can go out and that can, play up on your best player, which largely the players that dropped the most points in this game are the forwards or guards, mostly guards. If you don't have that point of attack guard, you don't have anything. Rozier, as even before his injury, didn't look like the most confident defender. Really, he really didn't. Didn't look like the most confident defender at all. Tyler Hero, I'm not even going to start, but we know what defense means to him. Without that defensive-minded point guard, you really are putting yourself short into the playoffs. And I think DeLon Wright is one of the most perfect pieces you could have acquired from what was available. I would rather go get like a Dennis Smith Jr. something like that at the trade deadline, but that just wasn't to be. That's completely fine. But what I saw from DeLon Wright was someone who wants to be here, and rather than thinks he like rather than thinks he deserves to be here. Do you know what I mean? He's trying to win that spot. He's trying to win the hearts of Miami. He's trying to win himself some minutes in a playoff rotation that's going to be stacked because the depth, in my opinion, hasn't looked this good since last year when we were actually firing on all cylinders. I'm not saying it hasn't looked good since then, or it hasn't looked better other times. I'm just saying most recently in the playoffs last year, depth looked okay until everyone started going down in the first series. I think that Spo has a big decision to make now when it comes to who's playing because you've got your starting five. You know, you got Caleb Martin in there at the 4. In my opinion, that's who I think that Spo's going to go with eventually. I love the Jovic attempt. I love the Jovic project. I don't think it's polished enough for him to get in there and play. And there's actually a funny quote from Jovic. He goes, "Either I start or I don't play. Make it make sense." And I agree. It's pretty insane to think about that. If he's not starting the game, he's not playing the game.
On topic. Let's stay on topic.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't want to go into rotational things because that could be a whole different segment.
But that comes to do with depth. That comes to do with depth as well.
Right.
I'm just okay. I think you've covered yourself well with Kevin Love. Kevin Love has reemerged as a very, very, very viable backup big in this league. And
I don't think he's reemerged. You just blame Cleveland's dumb. You know what I mean? Cleveland was stupid. Let's just be honest.
Cleveland didn't want him there. They didn't really need
but they could use a guy like him right now. Right.
They need him now.
Right.
Not then, which is funny. But I think that he is also nearing or is approaching the time of his career where it's coming to a close. I don't know how much good basketball he's got left in him. Now, I was afraid to start the season because he was playing so well. Would there be anything left for the postseason? In all seriousness, would there be anything left? Because he's playing so well and at such a high level, could he keep going? He's proven to do decent stuff. Thomas Bryant for that punch on Jose Alvarado. Well done.
I was about to say, K-Love is playing like 15 minutes a game, bro. Like, he's the type of guy that could go hard for 15, 20 minutes a game for 2 more years. Because he shoots the rock. You know what I'm saying? He uses his body. He uses his body to do his work now. Like him, you know what I mean?
I just think when it comes down to it, the depth is there. The schematics are there. The pieces are there. It's just all about Spo, finding out a way for them all to succeed, to coexist. And who fits where and who does it the best. But I think that the pieces are there now to do it. I would like ideally, in a perfect world, I would have loved 3 things. A better backup center, but we just can't get that right eventually. Like somehow we just keep missing on that. I would have rather what's his name? Smith Jr. from Brooklyn instead of someone like Dylan Wright, but he's done well, so I have no more complaints there. And another bench scorer. So I sit there and I go, do we have that? I don't think we have enough bench scoring when it comes down to it. But like a Kelly Oubre, sort of thing. We don't really have a Kelly Oubre coming off the bench.
Right.
But we can get a Kelly Oubre coming off the bench in a certain someone. But we won't talk about that.
I was about to say that's it. I was about to say, yeah, that's something that can maybe solve though. Deem, what you think about the depth? I think you said you might have to head out a little early, but what do you think about the depth before you get going?
Yeah, that's a great. By the way, Kay, that's a great question. That's a real great question. And George, you hit a lot of things on the head. I think we definitely was desperately needing not just a defensive-minded point guard, but just a point guard in total. Because the last point guard, he just wasn't here. He wasn't here. I'm not going to say no names, but the right move, the line right, that move was perfect. Like that move was perfect, and I haven't seen the game last night, so I'm really excited to see the rest of what we got, like 20-some games left, K?
24
games left. So I'm definitely excited to see him moving forward in the Heat jersey. I think it was a great pickup. And honestly, I think it was in my opinion, I was more excited about this pickup than the Terry Rozier one. I think this one was the team might benefit a little more from this one than that
Man,
pickup.
it's funny you say that. Not to cut you off, Dean, but it's funny you say that. A couple things right there before we move on to the next topic briefly. I love you to stick around for this next one if you got time. We're gonna try to move it along. But yes, Terry Rozier is without a doubt the better player, and I talked about
Yeah,
it.
he's the best player.
You're not getting the same Terry Rozier that you were getting in Charlotte though. But what made it cool was the price you're paying because you pretty much paid peanuts to get the dude, and you never turn down talent because at some point, even if it's every 2 or 3, 4 games, 3 times in the playoffs, Terry Rozier is going to be Terry Rozier, and it's going to help you win ball games. So you don't turn that down, especially for what you got him for. But for what the Miami Heat needed, you mentioned that the lawn right is probably just as impactful.
Yes,
Even if it isn't more impactful, it's just as
it's
impactful
just
for them as bringing Terry Rozier in. Terry Rozier for them was their ability to go get something of major value for something that they probably would have rid themselves of anyway.
Listen, man, and we all remember what Wright did to Hero in the playoffs a couple years ago.
Absolutely. And lastly, with that, Wright's playing for his next deal, bro. DeLon's playing for his next deal.
But his
And
next deal is going to be in Miami, I believe.
But that's what I was about to say. For a guy that's always wanted to be in Miami, we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves and say that he's gonna resign. But for a guy, I probably would like it for what he's gonna get. But for Joel in the chat, still tripping, talking about he can clamp Tyler too. We're gonna put the word out there and see if we can make it happen. I'm gonna laugh if
he's right.
Anyway, whatever. So long story short, when you look at a guy like DeLon, who not only, is getting bought out, there's the psyche there too, but playing for a team he's always wanted to play for and playing for his next opportunity. This is a situation where we're gonna get a hungry DeLon, right? And like I said, the possession against Anthony Simons is just the beginning, because when you think about Dame Lillard, when you think about Derek White, when you think about Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, all of those guards that you may see along the way in the NBA playoffs, you throw a guy like DeLon right out there on him in a crucial possession, and I'm confident he can get a stop. And I said that on the earlier part, and I mean that, especially again after seeing him do what we knew he could do, but watching him do it wearing that Miami Heat uniform. Anybody else got anything to say on that depth real quick?
Me, I got something to say, and I got a question for you guys. But before I say that, Kevin Love, speaking on Kevin Love, back to Kevin Love, I have been saying he's been one of the most impressive players this year on this team for a while now, okay? Like I've been like, what he's doing right now is doing numbers right now for this team. Don't just look at the stats, man, because he's doing way more than just what his numbers say, and it's beautiful to watch. And the question I have, I want both of you guys just to answer it. Are we losing faith in Jokic? Nico? Are we losing faith in him? Because it's times where he's like, he's phenomenal, and then there's a lot of times it's like, bro, don't know what he's doing out there, man. And sometimes it's hard to watch. And I used to be like, Spo, put him in, let's give him a shot. And then when he's in, I'd be like, Spo, take him out the game.
I love Jovic, and I think the project's there. I think it's a good one to keep going with. I think he gets what we're trying to do here. Who's we? Well, he gets what Miami's trying to do, and I think at the start of the season he was pretty pissed off he wasn't being able to play. But I feel like he's kind of figured himself out in terms of what he offers and what they need, and he can keep growing in that role. I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think he's a very good shooter.
I don't think he's a bad player at all.
I think he's confused with himself, whether he's a guard or a forward. A guard or a forward. I don't think he knows anymore.
What do you think he is? Do you think he's a guard or a forward?
He's a guard.
He's a guard.
Is what he is. He brought the ball up how many times a couple games ago? He keeps doing it all the time. He won't stop. I think that he. Sorry.
No, go. I'm sorry.
I think he really does. He finds a way to make the role work. And that's it. I don't think that it's a bad thing at all.
But so do you think the experiment should go on? Because I remember it was times where people didn't want to put him in the trade talks. Like, how you feel about that? Like, would you welcome him? Like,
I would say, if it's depending on who it is, I would send him out in a heartbeat. I wouldn't care.
Okay.
If Dame finally, like he says, you know what, I actually hated here in Milwaukee, and he's been saying that the last week. He's sick of it. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I wanted to be in Miami. Make it happen. And they burn out. They burn out in the first round of the playoffs. They fire Doc Rivers again. You
They
know,
won't
like
burn out.
they're not going to burn out. I think they're going to burn
No,
out.
no, I said they will burn out.
Yeah, I think they're
I
going to
said they
burn
will
out.
burn out.
And then they go, okay, we've just traded. By the way, they have no tradable first round picks until 2031. So they have mortgaged
Wow.
their franchise. So if it doesn't work this year, I really do. I think there's a very realistic situation where they could go up to Miami and be like, he doesn't want to be here. He wants to go there. Let's recuperate some of our assets. Give us Hero. Give us those 2 picks. Give us this. Give us that. And we go get Dame. I feel like that's a possibility. And if
I'm not
want,
giving them 2 picks and Hero.
I'm
and
giving
Jokic.
total. I'm giving.
I'm not
giving.
getting. I'm
Mm-mm.
not giving. I'm not. No.
Nope.
I'm giving
Nope.
2 picks in 2
Mm-mm.
seconds if they're taking
Listen,
Hero as well. Don't
Dame,
care.
Come on,
Dame,
brother. Nah, not at this point. Not
yeah,
buying.
not at this, yeah,
not
not at
buying.
this point.
There's no
Not
future.
buying resale. I'm not buying resale.
There's no future. There's no
Because
future.
I know that the goods. I know that you down on the goods right now. So what I look like coming to pay you penny? No, I'm not
Yeah,
paying you
no,
$1 on
I'm
the
not. I'm
dollar.
not
It is
giving up.
Dame. It is Dame. Dame is a far superior player to whatever version
Bro,
of Tyler
listen,
Hero will be here in 5 years' time. I don't care.
George,
Dame
I
out.
love Dame. Dame is one of my favorite players in the league, if not my favorite player in the league. But at this point of his career, at this
Okay.
age, I'm not doing it.
I would take 6 good months of Dame Lillard over 5 good years of Tyler Hero. Don't care.
It depends.
Done.
It depends
Finished.
where those 6
Finished.
months coming in.
Kevin
Yeah, that's
Herter
some-
Senior. He is Kevin
some-
Herter with minutes in a good situation. If you take him off this team, you watch him average 17 points a game. Unless the team is going to his Washington or the Spurs for half a year, they will play like crap. He's a defensive liability. He doesn't
Listen,
know when to pass.
We don't talk
anymore.
about Tyler Hero much on this show.
I'm done. I'm done with him. I don't want him here. Also, we've tried to trade him 8 times. If you think he's going to re-sign, and then if he sees a situation where people actually want him there, he's never felt that before. After his first season, no one wanted him in Miami anymore because he was up there for Harden. He was up there for he was up there for Beal.
I agree
He was
with
up there
that.
for Mitchell. He was up there for KD. He was up there for Kyrie Irving. He was up there for Dame. He's been on this trade block the entire time. If you think he still wants to be here, you're kidding yourself. He will
Yeah,
leave.
he still wants to be here.
No,
Who
he
doesn't want to be in Miami? Who doesn't want to be in Miami?
He's stupid Wisconsin ass.
Well, to answer your question, Deem, I think that the Nikola Jovic project should continue. I think he's right where you need him to be. I think that it's always a situation of figuring out confidence, and you take the Portland game where he couldn't do anything to open the game, then came back in the second half where somebody obviously got in his ear and reminded him, "Hey, man, go out there and shoot your shot." And he made some things happen. Honestly, yeah, he has a guard skill set, but in the NBA, he's a 4. He's shown the ability to rebound. And though he can push the pace, he's a stretch 4, especially for this Miami Heat team. He has to continue to get stronger, continue to develop his body. But I think that his skill set is going to be impeccable for us. Just because he's a 4 doesn't mean he can't handle the rock, just like Bam does as a big man. So, it is what it is, man. But at the same time, like I said, I think that he's right where he needs to be. Spo was throwing him into the mix, trying to get some things out of him when he can to continue to help him develop. But at the end of the day, Caleb Martin will be playing that position when the games really matter. So now that we've gave you guys time to debate everything under the living sun, let's move really quickly to our last couple of topics. Jimmy Butler said a couple of days ago, heading out of the All-Star break, that it's about that time. And we know what that means as Miami Heat fans. That's that time of the year where it really turns things on. You saw that coming to full fruition in the New Orleans Pelicans games. He took over before being ejected. And then you saw that when they needed it the most against the Portland Trailblazers in their last contest on Tuesday night, taking over at periods of the game, getting them big buckets, making sure the momentum continued to go in their direction. When Jimmy Butler says it's that time, we've talked about it before, that he's the only guy on this Miami Heat team with a true on and off switch, and one of the few guys in the league that you can honestly take seriously when you look at them from the perspective of being able to turn it on and off. Some people don't like it, and I understand that. You feel like if he plays with 100% energy on any given night, then they'll win a lot more games in the regular season. But I'm totally fine with him feeling like if he needs to manage it or put a governor on it for the regular season so that he can come out and be playoff Jimmy when it matters the most, I'm cool with that. But I get it if you feel the other way. However, we can all agree that when Jimmy said it's about that time, or when he tells you that it's time for him to get going, the man that we know he can get going, that's a special thing to see. And you have no choice but to believe that he's going to be that guy that gives you an opportunity to do anything and everything you want to do when the games and minutes matter the most. How are you feeling about the way he's turned it on? In the overall situation, Dean, do you like the fact that Jimmy picks and chooses his moments, or would you rather him give 100% all throughout the year or manage it?
I was just watching a video of Draymond Green, and he said it's times where it's hard for him to get up and get going against certain teams. It is a Tuesday, you in Utah, it's hard for him to get going against a team like that. And I think that's what a lot of NBA players, and I think that's how Jimmy Butler feels. Sometimes it's hard for him to get up and get excited about certain teams, about playing against certain teams. Yes, I would love for Jimmy to give 100% every night, but it's not realistic. No NBA player is giving 100 total percent all 82 games. Long as Jimmy Butler is doing what Jimmy Butler usually does in the playoffs since he's been in Miami Heat jersey, I don't give a damn. Honestly, I don't care, because I know once April come, he gonna deliver, and he has been doing so every year since he's been in the Miami Heat jersey. So it doesn't. At first, it used to bother me, and I'm gonna be honest, Kay. At times, it still kind of bothers me. Like it bothers me because I'm a fan. I'm a Heat fan. So I just want to see him be, and I know how great he is of a player. So I want to see him dominate night in and night out. So I don't gotta hear um George ranting about trading getting Jimmy traded. So I want to see him dominate night in and night out. But hey, he does his job in the playoffs. That's all that matters to me.
How about you, George? Are you okay with Jimmy being able to flip the switch? Would you rather him play more and more throughout the year?
It's actually very. It's hard to give like a direct answer on that one, because I'm in sort of both camps with that. I'd love to see him from start to finish, play the best he can play, or play just well enough that we don't start losing games to, 14th seeds and shit like that. But like, it happens. It happens. He doesn't want to play some games. He does. That's not like, I get it. I get that you've been in the league for a long time. Your best year, your best basketball will be played in the playoffs. If you're Jimmy Butler, that's just what's going to happen, no matter what. Now, I'm okay with him kind of taking a back seat until the All-Star break, if it means he's going to play that way in the playoffs. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be very angry, because that means we just got 2 months of good basketball and then back to Jimmy. But the reason why I don't think it's ideal is because you've, through 82 games, have developed this entire really integral rotation and game plan and sets to play and sets to run with Bam, with Hero, and you go from having a Jimmy Butler that takes 9 shots a game, who says that's what he wants to do, to scoring 60-something points in the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? Like, it happens. And then it kind of, if it gets you the win, fine, no matter what. But like, that's fine. But there's going to be games where, like, it's going to cost you because you're not used to playing like that. You're not used to playing with Jimmy at that caliber, Jimmy with that much of a possession.
Right, but if you're asking somebody to do less, that's going to be better for them, honestly.
Is it though? Because what happened with Tyler Hero? We asked him to do less. He fell off.
Well, but that has
come
more.
on, man.
But that's more of a that's more of a mental thing than it is physical, though.
Yeah.
He averages 12 points in the playoffs for a reason.
But see, that's why I said we're not going to do that with Tyler, man. Like, nah.
He sucks. Get him off the team, please. Please.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Right, relax.
Look, brother, look. I'm indifferent. I don't want Tyler off the team. I would rather him probably come off the bench, because sometimes I feel like trying to force feed him starters minutes disrupts the flow of his team. And I'm like highly documented in saying that. But I like Tyler when he's playing for the team. Look, man, I think that as long as Jimmy Butler shows up once those playoffs start and becomes the Jimmy Butler that we all know he is, I think that everything's going to be fine, and we just have to learn to live with that. I think Coach Spo lives with it. The Miami Heat live with it. His teammates live with it. And we just going to have to learn to live with it. Now, speaking of things that we're gonna have to learn to live with about Jimmy, Jimmy's a very different kind of cat. So he has a country music album coming out soon, from what we're hearing. But recently, on today, which is Wednesday, February 28th, we received this nice little ditty from Jimmy Butler. I'll get your thoughts in a second. Hit the button.
I'm saying
So yeah,
one thing.
guys.
I'm saying one thing before I leave. He must have got the bag for that. They must have absolutely showered him with cash.
Yeah, I that was that's my first time seeing the video, seeing this. I did hear the rumor of him having a country album, but that was something. Like
Oh, it was something, okay.
yeah, I don't I'm speechless.
You guys don't care to say what that something was?
Nah, I'm gonna keep that to myself.
That was elite. I will be listening to that.
I would not be.
all the time, every day. Though we had it. It's very catchy. It's catchy for what he was wearing.
Joel is fanning out. I don't know what Jimmy Butler's musical
Good for
hive
you,
is called,
Jimmy.
but Joel
Look
is
at
the
that.
president. Joel is the president of Jimmy Butler's musical hive. Yeah. Moving on. The Miami Heat have 2 more games to close out this week. That will be on Thursday in Denver to face the world champion Nuggets that beat the Miami Heat in the playoffs, the NBA Finals to be more specific. And then, as they always do, around about the time that they go to they go to Denver to face the Nuggets, buried the lead, they then go to Utah to face the Jazz on Saturday. Both nationally televised games, with them playing Denver on 10 o'clock on TNT, and them playing the Utah Jazz at 5 o'clock on Saturday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. How we feeling about these last 2 games to close out the week, guys? We'll just get your thoughts on the matchups and predicting the games, and then we'll get out of here. What you think, Dean?
So the next 2 games is Denver and Utah?
In that order, Denver and Utah.
Yeah, I think the Denver's going to be a good game. I don't think guys are going to get up and get ready for that. Is it in Utah?
Always is.
Yeah, see, that's one of those things.
When we playing Denver and Utah that close together, it's always, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
one of
no
those
one's going to care about that Utah game. But that Denver game is going. Is Jamal Murray back?
Oh wow, I'm sorry. Joel corrected me. I was wrong. It usually always is in Utah. Joel is telling me that it's in Miami. So forgive me out there for giving false information.
Is Murray back? Do anybody know if Murray's back? I know he was hurt. He had
Denver?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Hopefully both teams are fully healthy. I don't think Tyler's going to play that game, but the team is playing better without Tyler, so that's neither here nor there. But I'm excited for that Denver game. I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup. It's still homie that we lost the way we lost to them in the finals, but it's going to be a pretty good matchup.
So are you saying 1-1 or 0-2, brother? Give us a number.
Oh no, I think we're definitely going to win that Denver game. I think we're going to win that Denver game.
So
listen, that Bam and Jokic matchup, I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be something good. But before I get out of here, because I do have to get out of here, man, I want to say this. This is I want to give you 2 guys a shout out. Kay and George. Me and George started this thing 2 years ago, and we had a vision, and we still not where we want to be just yet. But to see how far we came, and Kay, you came in and picked that thing up and ran with it. I want to thank both of you guys for everything we did together. Georgia started off with me and you, and Kay, like I said, you picked it up and you ran with this thing, and both of y'all guys helped me out being comfortable doing this, because this wasn't something I see myself doing. So I do want to thank you guys for having faith in me and helping me build this thing. And hopefully, Kay, me and you will get to where we want to be.
That was beautiful,
Absolutely,
Deem.
boss. Absolutely,
You
boss.
killed it.
You crazy, George. That was beautiful, Deem.
That was beautiful. I was gonna cry, man. I'm sorry.
No,
Chill out. I mean, so what you thinking, George, over the next 2 games? What you think the record gonna be? Give us a little bit on the matchups.
I think we win both of them. Look, the Heat are not adverse to versing the Denver Nuggets with a Tyler Hero. They did it 5 times last postseason. It happens. They're used to it. I really hope we go in there and make a statement. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking like the Marcus Morris situation. Was it Marcus or Markeith? Markeith? Was Markeith. Yeah, I'm not talking about that sort of message. I'm talking about go in there, win by 10, by 15. Bam has a good game. Bam plays well against Jokic. Keeps him. Look, Jokic can play well no matter what. There's no chances that you're going to stop him. It doesn't matter who it is. But I'm talking about the type of game where you limit him to what just enough to get yourself the win. I feel like this win means more than most in terms of what it could do for the team, what it could do for the confidence of the team going into the postseason soon, and knowing that you've beaten Denver, you did it already on their home floor. It means a lot, and I think that this is a big game for Bam because he was our best performer in the playoffs. In the finals, he was our best performer by far. If he can kind of continue where he left off and kind of pick up that and see what he needs to do this time against Jokic and kind of readjust and reevaluate what he needs to do, I don't want to see Kevin Love play against Jokic. For the love of God, that is going to kill me. That'll kill Kevin Love. I just want to see somehow. I want to see us use Thomas Bryant in this game if we can. Actually, no, he's suspended. Damn.
Oh, you said that'll kill Kevin Love.
It will kill him. It'll kill him. Imagine being backed down by. No.
I think Kevin Love's gonna give us some good minutes on Jokic. I don't want to see it extended.
I think he'll stretch the floor well. I think he's better than Michael Porter Jr. But I really don't think he's going to do anything against Kevin Love. I think Orlando Robinson might have to get called up because Thomas Bryant is now injured. And this is literally what we bought Thomas Bryant for, to play on bigger centers because he is a bigger body. But look, I think we win both of them. I think that the urgency is there, the time is there for them to go now and get the job done.
I hate to say it, George, but I agree with you, man. I really feel like they win both of them. They're in a groove right now. They need to send a message against a Denver team that's not as good as they were last year. Let's be honest. But they're still a good team, and Joker's still Joker, but they're not as good as they were last year. And like I said, Utah's Utah, man. So just the opportunity to go finish off this road trip strong and then come back home and get your first one at the crib because I was mistaken. We'll get it done like that. So with that being said, man, I'm glad that we had this good show. Glad that you and Deem got a chance to debate it down. And we're going to have you back next episode to talk more Sabonis versus Bam. Everybody got to go, man. I appreciate you so much for popping on, George. We thank you for lending your ear to this sound. Deem had to bounce. George about to go. I'm Kay, and this has been the Biscayne Breakdown. Hit the button.
Yeah. When I pull up on the scene, dead